o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, will the secretary call the roll, please?
Chairman Judd?
Here.
Commissioner Scattini?
Here.
Machado?
Here.
Meyer?
Here.
Houston?
Here.
Martinez?
Here.
And I am here.
Okay, thank you. Can you verify the posting of the agenda?
The agenda of the Airport Advisory Commission of the City of Hollister regular meeting of October 28th was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on October 23rd at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Okay, thank you. The consent agenda consists of two sets of minutes, a regular meeting on September 23rd, and the special meeting that we had on October 1st. Do we have both minutes included? Is any discussion or corrections? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Machado. Could I get a second?
Second.
Who was that, Robbie? Thank you. Commissioner Scattini. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're up to item 6, public input. Do we have any speaker cards?
Ruth Erickson?
Okay, this, by the way, while she's coming up to the podium, is a time when anyone from the general public can speak on a topic that is not on the agenda. So, and we can listen, but we can't really comment on whatever it is you have to say. So, thank you.
Hi, I think this is on. Ruth Erickson, Hollister. You probably all know that John Weatherly passed away, and he was one of the originators of Hollister Airmen's Association. Sorry, thinking of your commission. In 1946, so he's very important to us and the airport. His daughter, Leanne, requested that I start putting together a celebration of life. We have planned on November 14th, if you haven't already heard. Information will be coming to you. If I could have Fred, after the meeting, Fred's email, I can send it to you, and then the EAA, and perhaps to Mike, for the people at the airport to know what's going on. But put that on your calendar, November 14th, and there'll be the usual things that we have, which will be hopefully a flyover with a missing man, hopefully the VFW with a flag presentation, and the potluck with the barbecue and speeches and so on. If you would like to volunteer to help with moving tables, we'll need more than the city tables and chairs and so on. I'd like to know that too. So you'll be getting more information very soon, but if you need to call me and I'll give you what I've got so far.
What time is it going to be?
I'm not sure what time she's decided. 11 to 3, I think.
11 to 3?
I think, but you'll get the information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Is there anyone else that have a comment to make, not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to item 7, reports. Item 7A is Super Bowl update.
Thank you, Commissioner Judd. We attended a meeting a couple weeks ago up in Napa that had a lot more information about the Super Bowl than we've ever received. So as of right now, as it stands right now, Napa and Livermore are planning on being entirely wiped out by Super Bowl. Oakland's looking at being able to hold 400 incoming jets, but they can't get that many time slots. So that's not going to happen. So as it now, it looks like the 3 internationals are going to hold about 100 of the jets. They're anticipating anywhere from 12 to 1,400 aircraft. Hayward is getting some, but they don't have a whole lot of room. San Mateo may get a couple.
You mean San Carlos?
San Carlos, sorry. It's in San Mateo. Reed Hillview is shut out because of San Jose. Moffett was going to get like 20, and they said they didn't want to play if they were only going to get 20. So they're shut out. They're going to house the law enforcement contingent of helicopters, which brings us down to South County, Watsonville, us, Monterey. I believe Monterey is planning on quite a few. Watsonville, Salinas, and Hollister are attending a meeting next week regarding specific information from air traffic control. Dave's, I think, going. The invitation was extended, and they're very, very interested in you being there. We've spoken with the NFL's guy for airports, and he kind of didn't really understand where we were. He thought Monterey was closer than us. So we've corrected that issue. Look, we've told them that we can house anywhere from 50 to 75 jets, depends on how tightly Dave can park them. I think Dave can park them pretty tight, and we can also close the runway and stuff. With that said, we're calling this our Super Bowl ad. This will be something that we're playing in Vegas at the NBAA conference, which we'll talk about later with a different thing. But it's done. I'll give you a little preview of it. We want to roll it out in Vegas at NBAA. Many thanks go out to Michael Gerzan, Cheryl Mullen, Kirk Hamrick. They were Dean. All were indispensable in putting together both the ads you're going to see tonight. But this is our Super Bowl one.
The area skies will be filled with private and commercial air traffic for the big game in February. Your best option for easy access is the Hollister Municipal Airport. It's located outside the TFR just south of the busy international airports and centrally located in Monterey, Salinas, Silicon Valley, and the Central Valley. Why not enjoy no landing fees, Hollister Jet Center FBO services, car rental services, convenient highway access, recreational opportunities like wineries, world-class golf courses, and America's newest park, Pinnacles National Park. And did we mention VFR weather most of the year? Available land around the airport for business developments too. Make Hollister Municipal Airport your final approach for the big game.
So I personally think it's as perfect as you can get it without lightsabers or TIE fighters. So I let them know that. So that is complete. We're going to start actually emailing that to attendees of NBAA so that they can see that ahead of time. And then I'll show you the next video when we get to the NBAA and the agenda.
Okay. Is that it for the Super Bowl update?
That's it for the Super Bowl.
Any questions?
Yeah, no landing fees, huh?
No, no landing fees, only for CAL FIRE.
Okay.
Are landing fees happening at our airport?
Yes,
Why do we have none?
because we don't have any set up. Only for CAL FIRE. There is.
Okay, if no other questions, we'll move on to item 7B, new position.
So the new maintenance position, I spoke with the personnel director again just this week and reminded him, hey, can we get this thing going? So at this point, the ball's in his court. I would expect it to start advertising in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Item 7C, homeless shelter / Air Park Business Center.
So I believe it was 2 weeks ago, the county of San Benito decided to name the location for their preferred location for the homeless shelter to be the corner of Aerostar and Flynn Roads. That puts it right next to the Airport Business Center. Mr. Lindsay's here. He sent a letter to us and Billy, and I included it in your packets. Obviously, he's kind of disappointed in their choice. The area is zoned for short-term lodging. So as long as any programs don't go past 30 days in the airport compatible use plan, it would be considered a compatible use. If they have any programs that go beyond 30 days, that would be an incompatible use for the area. That doesn't mean that it goes away. It means that both the Board of Supervisors and the City Council would have to override the compatible use plan and make findings that the use outweighs the incompatibility. So that's all still to play out over months to come. There was some mention in the news already about programs lasting over 60 days, which would be an incompatible use. So we'll see where this is going. The county had no contact with me at all before they did this. Didn't ask any questions about any of that. So I don't know if they talked to COG or not, but they didn't talk to us. We do have a speaker card on this item.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and hear
Christina
from the speaker.
Wyatt?
Yeah.
Good evening, Chairman Dunn, members of the commission. My name is Christina Chavez Wyatt. I'm a Hollister resident, I'm a small business owner, and a mom. And I'm here today to ask the airport commissioner to please join myself, more than 40 businesses, residents, and concerned citizens within the airport region to join us in asking the County Board of Supervisors to respectfully request that they remove the county compound property located at Flynn Road from evaluation and consideration for the Homeless Services Center. The center and affiliated activities are incompatible uses in consideration of the neighboring commercial, industrial, and agricultural lands. Additionally, these services are not expressly permitted use under the county zoning code. Flynn Road site does not include appropriate transit, bicycle, and pedestrian facilities, nor can it effectively accommodate overnight, long-term, and RV parking, issues that have been encountered with similar centers within our region. We ask that they reconsider the newly presented viable alternatives to Flynn Road and the numerous impacts to the county, city, surrounding properties, businesses, and investors, and ability to best serve our community members in need, including serving the homeless members of our community in an area that has safer access and is located in closer proximity to goods and services such as grocery, health, employment, and child care services. Preserving the ability to market and attract new businesses to the surrounding business park properties, and retaining the expanding investment of current companies. The inconsistency with the decision with the policies and guidelines in the recently approved and celebrated 2035 County General Plan, and the current message being sent to current and potential companies that the county is willing to make a hasty decision if only to receive one-time grant funding, resulting in short-term versus long-term economic gains for our county. The 2035 County General Plan economic development element states major objectives including improving the overall economic health of the county, protecting existing businesses and encouraging new investment, achieving economic sustainability, which we know is very important to the airport, recognizing the need for economic prosperity and resilience to maintain the health of our county for current and future generations. The Flynn Road Business Park in the airport region is our best opportunity to bring a critical mass of good, high-quality career jobs, and one of the very few opportunities that we have to attract our college-educated youth back to our community to live in proximity to their families. If we're unable to effectively tackle our unemployment issues, we're only adding to the problem. As the general plan states, unemployment can also lead to mortgage defaults, bankruptcies, job skill loss, and homelessness. Furthermore, the general plan states that following on the Hollister Airport expansion, the county shall support efforts of the City of Hollister to expand and enhance operations at the Hollister Airport to create a catalyst for economic development and jobs in the county. The Board of Supervisors has stated that economic development is a priority. We're asking them if it's right to continue down the current path, wasting time, energy, and resources on a prospective site that would be eliminated for consideration eventually. We feel that they're doing themselves and our community a great disservice by proceeding along the current path, compromising the stated goals of the county to allocate staff resources for economic development, attraction and retention planning activities, and coordinate with cities and the appropriate organizations on related economic development and planning efforts. We're asking you today to join us in asking the county to do the right thing for our homeless residents and their families, the county and our community, our airport, our economy, and our future. Let's work together to do the right thing and remove the Flynn Road location off of their environmental evaluations and work with the community to move towards a better, smarter direction. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Okay, thank you. I guess I would preface a comment here that I think mostly we advise the city council, so I'm not sure we could be advising the Board of Supervisors. That would seem a little out of our jurisdiction, but I think we probably all have an opinion about this situation, and I certainly would like to discuss it further and come up with a position, probably in support of what you just said. Do we have any other speakers?
No, sir.
Okay. You want to say something?
Yeah, is that in the run right protection zone?
It is not. It's in Zone 6, which is, out and away.
The future development of the airport.
What's that?
Is that?
Zone 6 encompasses is it a half mile in all directions around the airport? I mean, it's the most least restrictive zone we have.
Okay.
But it does restrict it from long-term housing. It's only for short-term lodging, so 30 days or less, and it specifically says that in the land use plan.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this come under the ALU, the Airport Land Use
Yeah, that's fine.
Plan?
Yes.
So it's under the jurisdiction of COG?
Yes.
Has this gone to COG or any manner of?
I don't know. They never mentioned it to me.
Do they supersede the county in that particular?
Well, since there's an adopted plan by both agencies, if they're going to overrule that plan, they will have to do a resolution and make findings on why they are overruling the plan.
I guess what I'm looking at is that the ACLU committee should be the first layer before it gets up to the board. It seemed that if you went to the board first, you're circumventing a committee that's designated for that land use.
That was my question. Yeah.
My understanding is the committee would hear anything that doesn't fit what the plan says. So in this case, if they're planning on long-term programs out there, which was stated in the media, then yes, it should have gone to the Airport Land Use Committee at COG.
I'm just assuming that the Board of Supervisors has the ultimate power over the ACLU committee.
They do.
So that's what I'm saying. I think of the start there, and the appeal can go one way or the other way to going up to the board. But that has nothing to do with us. So we can. That's your question.
Commissioner Scatini.
Yeah, there's approximately 376 homeless people in Hollister right now, and out of those 300 and so, there's quite a few that have families and children. It is a long-term deal. The mayor is really, this is his pet project, and he wants to put little miniature trailers out there. And they kicked us around. They had a couple public hearings at the city and at the county on this deal. And first they wanted to put out there with the old county hospital, and they figured it would cost so much money to tear that building down with asbestos and all that it wasn't worth it. So, and it was too far out of town for them to get the help that they want. So they're using the businesses on across the street, across the airline, not San Benito County, San Benito Street. They figure they can get their medical attention there and see the doctors and all that. So it is a long-term deal. And at one time, I think they wanted to put it close to the airport, and this committee, this association, stated that they didn't want it near the airport, because if you put them out there, there'll be pipe, coming onto the airport too, with all the airplanes and what have you. So it's a deal, and right now they're really adamant about putting it out there, out at the county, because the county owns the property already, and they figured it wouldn't cost that much money you wouldn't have to put a lot of money into it, since that the county already owns the property. And so it would be kind of a fight, but I agree 100%. It's not a proper place if you can bring business in to put it out there with all these business coming into the airport. So I just want to bring that, because I was part of that deal before I got off the city council, working with them on that. And, but I can tell you right now, that's the way they want to go right now. They vote with 3-2. 3 supervisors voted for it and 2 against it, putting it out here. So, but it would be a terrible thing to have them put them out there with all the trash that they bring in and all that. It'd be really difficult to function properly. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Are there other comments from the commissioners?
No, I would.
You want to add one?
Well,
I think we're dealing with a hot potato. Nobody wants it. And I know what Mrs. Keating was saying, but the idea that the residents, more so I believe, at least my observation, on Southside Road is the ones that really moved that project somewhere else.
Yeah.
Not really caring where, but somewhere else. And I think that's how it last got lighted at this location. So again, I think it's a political issue more than anything. And whether we as a body and the concerned people in the area, Mr. Lindsay, anybody out there, it's a matter of mounting a charge and going after in the same method, the same way it was moved again, moved from the last location. And, the county also owns property out of the location. It's not the only piece of property. I don't know.
Well, you being a masterful politician, you understand these things.
Don't use that word, politician.
But, well, Ruth seems to want to say something. Well, you better stand up and say it there so we have it on record.
There we go.
you've said that because you're a city commission that you couldn't advise the county. However, when problems have been brought up before, the commission and various members of EAA and Hollister Airmen have been before the Airport Land Use Commission and COG to explain what the problems have been. We've done it many times in the past. So you could advise the Airport Land Use Commission and COG, and then let them deal with it. If you're not going to deal with it at the County Board of Supervisors, because they will advise the County Board of Supervisors too. So that's my suggestion. If you want us to go before the commissions, we've done it before and we can do it again, and you could do it too, or send a letter to each one. Let us know.
You say let us know. I don't. What do you mean, let us know? Who's us?
The Hollister Airmen have done it many times before. There have been all kinds of things that have come up around the airport, and we've gone to those meetings and
Right.
explained why these things couldn't happen. EAA has been to some of those meetings. It hasn't happened in a long time, but we're coming up before the same thing again. And if you need groups to go or individuals to go, we can go as individual or representing a group, and you can do the same thing because you are part of COG. You are part of AAC, Airport Land Use Commission.
You say you. Who's part of it?
You as a board. You can make suggestions to them.
I don't think we're not a member of that commission.
Everybody is.
Well, as citizens, we certainly are.
No, but you represent the airport,
Well-
and the Airport Land Use Commission. You're representing the airport for the Airport Land Use Commission.
Okay, well, yeah, all right.
I mean, we've done it before, years ago.
I'm just, if you're trying to address what I said at the beginning, which was that we are an advisory commission,
Right.
and we advise the city council, and you're saying we can go beyond that. We certainly, as individuals, we can go beyond that because we're all citizens of the San Benito County. I'm just saying I don't know whether it's appropriate for the commission to directly, as a commission, address whether it's the Land Use Commission or the Board of Supervisors. I don't want to step outside of our charter, let's put it that way. I personally have some strong feelings about this situation, which I haven't mentioned yet, but and how we go about it, I don't know. I personally think that we need to advise the city council to take a stand about this and tell them what we think, and that's what I'm hoping eventually we're going to come out with this. Beyond that, we can certainly, as individuals, go to the Board of Supervisors, and if it's not on the agenda, we can speak at the beginning of the meetings and tell them what we think.
But you can also go before the Airport Land Use Commission.
And how
COG.
often do they
They
meet?
meet once a month.
Well,
We've been to the meetings before.
They meet as needed.
I thought they met occasionally. I didn't think they had a monthly meeting.
The ACLU committee,
ALUC.
ALU, okay.
They're different.
That committee is
As
I don't know
needed.
if I should say a subcommittee or a separate, I guess it's a separate entity, and the same members are the COG members.
Okay.
COG,
So
when
COG
COG
meets.
meets, they have about 4 or 5 different committees that
Have
they
to.
are
Okay.
leading, or I don't know how to explain it, but
Oh, they have little
will-
sections of their meeting, which
It's
is,
like the redevelopment
I
of
got
the
you,
city
yeah.
hall as it used to be.
okay, all right. Well,
But I agree totally what you're saying. We can take a strong stance and recommend it to our bosses, the
Right.
city council.
Right.
But we can't go beyond our job.
I don't think we should,
Them.
as a commission, should be going beyond
Yeah, but what
advising them.
what I'm getting at, if that strong position that we take and make the presentation to city council, that desire or whatever it is can be conveyed to COG or the Land Use Commission as a referral. Okay, Hollister, the Airport Commission, if you remember 2 months ago, the way they made the big statement on that, and that coming from them. I'm just saying 2 months from now, and refer back to what we did.
Yeah,
But you're right, we can't go over there and make a statement.
right. Not as a commission, I don't think.
But it also gives the power, not the power, but the ammunition to the city council if they take the same position, to say
Right.
also our advisory committee recommended the
Right,
same thing,
right.
airport commission.
Right.
Dean, I just make one more comment. The city of Hollister, city council and the supervisors, they had a committee on this. They met. They were on a committee, both the city and the board of supervisors. So they already know, some of the members of the city council already knows about this. And when he proved it that night, they had a special meeting, it was at nighttime, at the board of supervisors meeting, and he packed that building. He packed it. There were people standing outside of the building. It was so crowded. So if we're going to talk to the city council, they already got a good sense of what's going to happen, because they know that I guess they spent a lot of time on this.
But that meeting you're referring to is when it was going to be at the south side?
No, discuss where it's going to be. And half of the people in that building, I would say, a big portion of them were from South Side area residents at that meeting. And that night, they decided to put it out here.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and what I'm saying is that meeting was in the discussion of the south side location.
Yes.
And it ended up at the end of the meeting, they're going to move it somewhere else, and they ended up at the airport.
Yes.
So that meeting wasn't that meeting wasn't based on the airport, that meeting was based to get rid of south side.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right, you're correct.
In other words, they really haven't had a meeting to discuss putting it at the airport.
Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
spontaneous thing.
Well, okay, so I don't know, I guess presumably everybody read Ken Lindsay's letter. You want to say something, Ken?
I wasn't planning on it, but your discussion. You guys mentioned quite a few things, and so I took a few notes. First of all, I think the Airport Commission should care a lot about this issue. And the reason why, just looking at the airport, is that major portion of land that's still undeveloped at the airport is the Center Triangle. The Center Triangle is accessed by Aerostar Drive. There's nothing out there yet except for some T hangars and a couple corporate hangars. But as you are aware, several years ago, the city did an RFP for someone to develop that area, and I submitted a proposal. And in that proposal, I put CAL FIRE where they're presently going to go, and I did a number of different layouts of T hangars, square hangars, and corporate hangars. So because there's going to have to be a major investment by somebody, a developer, a company, someone's going to have to make a major investment. I think having to drive past the homeless center to get to this property is going to be a deterrent for anybody who's going to make an investment. I know if any of you were thinking about spending $1 million to build a 10,000 square foot hangar, you'd probably think twice about whether you want to make that investment. And this is how our companies, since this decision was made, it was a month ago, and I really haven't been contacted by anybody from the city regarding this. One of the supervisors told me, well, now that it's in your lap, Ken, you need to figure out another solution. This isn't my business. My business is developing business parks and buildings for companies. It's made me pause, more than pause. It's made me really wonder whether I should invest anything more. I get companies that call. Not all companies want to buy the land and own their own facility. A lot of companies, and this will happen on the airport. This will be what's going to happen, I think, with the remainder of the land on the airport, is companies are going to either want somebody to develop it for them and own it and lease it to them, or they're going to buy the land or lease the land from the airport and build their own facility, which means their own investment. I think this is a huge deterrent, and the decision was made on a Tuesday by the Board of Supervisors, I think a hasty decision, and with not a lot of thought that went into it. And I think what happened was on that Thursday, a company that I've been working with for over 2 years, they have 3 corporate jets, a Gulfstream and 2 Global Expresses, happened to fly into the Monterey Jet Center for their international meeting. It's an international company. They made a decision at that meeting on Thursday the day after this came out that Hollister was their first choice. And in my business, disclosure is everything. I can't recruit a company and not tell them what they're walking into. So it's had a very chilling effect on that deal already. I had another company that has actually been a tenant of mine for years, and they moved away, but they called looking for a site to build their own building. And the only site that I had that would fit them, in other words, a 1-acre site, happens to be directly next door to where this is going to be. And the gentleman told me, this is a non-starter. I'm not interested. I think this is what's going to happen. I think the Airport Commission needs to advise the City Council how it's going to affect your ability, the airports, to attract quality companies and jobs. It certainly had a very chilling effect on my ability, and I've had quite a few of our major employers already contact me to find out if this is really what's going on and this is true. And I think that even our existing companies are going to have pause about whether they should invest in expanding here, or in the case of several of our companies, they're already looking at moving, not just because of this. I mean, I think this is going to be a catalyst, but they are looking at expanding somewhere else. I mean, why do more investment here if this is what's going to happen to us? So anyway, I think it's a very big deal. It's probably, to me, it affects all aspects of our business park, not just the through the fence, which we went through several years ago. And I've had a couple of people call me and say, well, why hasn't this gotten going? I said, well, we had a sewer moratorium that lasted almost 6 years. That finished up just in time for the Great Recession. Finally, we're just starting to emerge out of that. I think our chance to make some forward movement is going to happen fairly soon. And then something like this comes along. And I think that I don't want to sound just negative, because as one of the supervisors said to me, you know, you need to work at solving this problem. And so I've been working at solving this problem, trying to solve the problem. But it's a big issue. It's a big issue for the city, the county, the citizens that live here, all the businesses here. I think everybody needs to get involved in this. One of the comments that was made was, well, the county owns this land. And this land was part of our business park originally. When I submitted the first map, the first tentative map, this was part of it. The county was in a bind 25 years ago trying to figure out where to put the jail and juvenile hall. So we stepped up and offered 5 acres to solve that problem for the county. And I won't go into all the other negotiations that went on, but the county ended up with 23 acres. We expected to see the courthouse, which I didn't oppose when it didn't happen there, but it was the state's first choice, and that was because that's where they thought it was going to go. But the sheriff's department, a firehouse, you know, things like that, that would be an attraction to companies. So I've always felt that the county could easily divide off some of that land that's on Aerostar turn it into industrial parcels, just like we have in the business park, and sell those off and buy something that's suitable. And so I don't think they should be looking at just what they have in their pocket today, but there are ways to trade, make this work. And anyway, I feel like as a board member on the EDC, we've come up with some alternative sites that have not been on the table before, that would be no cost to the county. And I think that the Business Council, the Chamber of Commerce, all the various groups that we have, we all need to work together to find a solution for this. And I think that it's important to the community to find a solution. But I think the wrong thing to do is put it right in the middle of our business park and our business district and the airport. I just think it's a very poor decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. You kind of summarized what you had in your letter to the city manager, I think, and which I certainly read, and was, when I read your letter, was the first thing I kind of knew about the decision, and I was horrified, basically. I think it's really a ridiculous place to put it. So we haven't heard from this side. I don't know if there's commissioners have any.
Well,
thing you would
I
like to
agree. As a business
add.
owner in town, I wouldn't want to expand my business next to a homeless shelter. As airport commissioner, our job is to help the airport grow. With the homeless shelter out there, I agree with Mr. Lindsay. It will not grow. So I think the board does need to take a stand against it, and as a board, have our voice heard. How we go about that will be discussed, but I do believe we need to make a stand against it.
Okay. Mr. Martinez?
A couple of items that were mentioned earlier. The location itself is, right next to a jail, a juvenile hall, or close by. I think going back to what Mr. Lindsay said, I was around, I used to work in the county here. That place was selected for the juvenile hall and the jail for that very reason, to get it further away. And it's, ironic to see that, they want to push the homeless, out in that direction. Well, in so doing, and, this is just my personal opinion, the infrastructure for that, to have those individuals there serviced, it makes it next to impossible. It was brought up that, one, you don't have sidewalks. How do you get to and from that? The airport itself is an attractive nuisance. I mean, I don't want to shoot myself, but in essence, what you're looking at is what's to stop people from, going out there and, seeing what's out there. And so I think it's a poor choice. I mean, if they were to look at from an economic standpoint, to bring in businesses, I mean, it really should, make you think, if we want to expand business, that's the place to go. I always felt that if you're going to grow, you're going to grow in that direction. But if you have a homeless shelter, a jail for that matter, people are going to think twice. Wait a minute, do I want folks to come out on my property? The liability, people, you get different people, in homeless shelters. And having, worked in the business for a number of years, you don't know who's in a homeless shelter. You don't. And so what's there to stop them? You have the police out there? Do you have security out there? It just doesn't make business sense.
Mr. Chairman? I think what we have to do here is just maybe make a motion to make a recommendation to the city council that it's a real bad idea to do that. And I think that's the only thing we can do. We have to go after the city council.
Well,
So why don't we do that?
well,
We can keep this around forever.
well, I'm just trying to give every commissioner an opportunity to speak up, that's all. And I think Commissioner Martinez was the last one. So it sounds like we're pretty unanimous that we all feel it's a bad idea. And that's what's important. I want to make sure we do feel that way. I think I would presume that we need to communicate this to the city council, and I guess we should do it through a motion. Would that be best way?
Or a letter.
I'm sorry?
Or a letter
Or a letter?
that you could present at a meeting.
I think we can address the ALUC too, Airport Land Use Commission, because in the past we've worked with them.
Well, let's get one thing at a time. Let's try and address the city council. And again, we talked about that earlier. I'm not sure that we don't advise the ALUC that I know of. We just advise the city council. So let's get that taken care of. I don't think as a commission we should go beyond that.
I think it,
Oh, go ahead, sir.
no, I was just thinking, I think it'd be more effective if we agendized it or requested to be agendized on the city council agenda and do it at the podium,
Make a presentation.
make a presentation, and hand the written presentation to the council. I guess what I'm saying, you write a speech and why, like it's pretty well written already, why we don't want it there, and then make the speech and then hand it out to them, which might be picked up by the press too, by the way.
The next council meeting that you can get on the agenda for is November 16th. Coincidentally, that is NBAA week. So the city manager, myself, and Cheryl will be in Las Vegas dealing with that. There's no reason why you can't be on the agenda and go there. I just won't be here, so you'll be solo.
Mr.
I can do all the paperwork to get you on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as I recall, unless my memory's failing me, didn't we, as a commission, review the Airport Land Use Commission before it was actually released in the past?
You reviewed the plan, yes.
Yeah. So why can't we give them an input?
We already approved it. That plan that came before is approved already.
Okay.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even think this is before them.
Should be.
Yeah, but I suspect it wasn't.
I don't.
It especially sounds like the way Commissioner Scatini said it, kind of like, well, after they beat it to death about being on the south side, they kind of just at the end of the meeting switched to the airport.
Yep.
And I don't think the airport had been seriously considered up until probably the middle of that meeting or near the end of the meeting. I don't know.
Well, what Mr. Lindsay said, I concur too heartily with him being here a while.
Yeah.
I seen him when he had more hair or was darker color too. But he's been through hell with what he exactly said. The economy dumped on him. The
Moratorium.
city and state dumped on him. The moratorium dumped on him with through the fence. Finally, we got a congressman opened up that gate again, through the fence operation, and now all of a sudden he got chopped down again. It's.
Yeah, I mean, to
I'm
me,
surprised. I'm surprised he's hung in there all these years, because it's got to be 15 years, 20 years from day one till now.
yeah. Well,
It's just not right.
Yeah, I certainly would want to do everything we can to make them put this somewhere else, because it clearly is a bad thing for the airport.
So what I would recommend is individually, each of you talk to your council people. That would be step one. I can do the paperwork to put you on the reports section of the council agenda for the 16th. And then if you folks want to show up and make a presentation, or if you want the chairman to make a presentation, sorry, Dean. I think you can make a motion to that effect right now, and then we can march down that road. And then in between now and that date, if you have specific questions about stuff, I can get those answers for you.
We could also, to make it easier on you, set a subcommittee to meet prior to the agenda to work with you.
Yeah, I'd like to, I think we should try to do something by the 16th. You know, I don't want this thing to just
No, I agree.
get lost in a subcommittee, but.
Oh, no. The subcommittee was to expedite it, not the reverse.
Well, prepare a report, I guess. But the thing is, we let's see, we won't meet before then. We won't meet again before then.
We could.
Well, I guess we could for a special meeting if we wanted to come up with the result of what we wanted to present.
What about Board of Supervisors? Nobody mentioned them. They're the one made the decision. We should make a point to go before them. Let them know.
Well, like I was saying earlier, our charter is to advise the city council. I don't know that, if we start advising other bodies, it's kind of outside our charter. Now, I think individually, we can certainly go to the Board of Supervisors, and it's probably a good idea, and I think some, if not all of us, should probably do that and speak our mind. If it's not on the agenda, you've got up to 3 minutes at the beginning of their meeting, and you can speak to them and tell them what you think.
We're all county residents.
Yeah, we're all in the county, and that might even have more impact if they had to listen to, everybody's individual opinion, and they might actually listen. I have an opinion about how much they listen, but I shouldn't mention that. But that might have an impact. Is there somebody who want to work on a subcommittee to put together a report? No? Gordon, you suggested it.
I know, that's why I suggested it.
You're a lot of help.
We're not going to take that long, just a meeting.
Yeah. Well, if we want to make it as a presentation, verbal presentation to the city council, it should be prepped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm talking just about one meeting now.
Yeah, of the subcommittee.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, okay, let's do that. I mean, let's plan to do that. If we have to move to do that, to make a presentation to the...
You have the option of naming your subcommittee or asking for volunteers.
Do we have any volunteers?
Yeah, boss.
I can handle one more. Well, all right.
So it's Dean and Gordon?
Oh, did you volunteer too? No, I didn't hear volunteer. No, I don't think he volunteered.
No, I said Dean and Gordon.
Or Dean and Gordon, yeah. Dean and Gordon will be the subcommittee. And we'll basically put together something that will probably embody a lot of what Ken Lindsay has said tonight and has said in his letter, because I think he's been pretty succinct about it, and I think it's, this is a terrible thing for the airport, and we have to communicate that to the city council. So I think we'll do that.
The airport is a community.
Well, and the community, yeah. I mean,
We're going to fight for an hour.
right. Okay, so we'll do that.
Okay.
All right, and we'll plan to present it on November 16th, and I guess we'll. Do we want to meet again before then, or do we want to? Can we get people to? At this point, we could probably get a motion to have this subcommittee put together and present to the city council, and we just do it right now. I don't think anybody, unless somebody wants to hear what we're going to say ahead of time.
I think we're all pretty much, against this project, and
Yeah, I don't think anybody probably cares about what we put together, other than we put together a succinct position that says we're opposed to this for the sake of
correct.
the airport and the community and the business community, that this is just a bad idea. So, somebody wants to make a motion that we do that,
All right, so moved.
okay?
A second?
And then Steve seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we will put together something, and we will make a presentation to the city council on the 16th of November, and where we will express our opposition to this. All right,
What date is that, November
16th?
November 16th.
16th?
Yeah. Okay. If there's no more on that topic, we'll go on with old business. AIP 17 runway.
That actually is a typo. It's all the numbers are a little off. So it's AIP 18, which is the new project. On the 19th of October, the City Council awarded the project to Granite Rock. We look to start in February as soon as Super Bowl is over. And hopefully most of El Nino. Because if we rip up that runway and we get an El Nino, it'll never dry out.
Okay. Anything else on that? Questions?
Just a reminder that the extent of this project is major. I'll be advising of closures in the future, but there will be a portion of time when the airport is absolutely closed while they're working in the intersection. And that length of time may be up to 2 weeks. So I will, when I have those dates, I will provide them as often as I can. But it's a situation where they have to tear out the entire intersection, all 4 runways, and then replace it. So it's not something that can be done only at night or anything else. It's going to take some time because it's a full depth reconstruction.
Any, I guess you won't be able to open up one end of 3-1 or something like the north end, or
No.
or little airplanes, or no taxiways?
It would cost us about $500,000 to do that.
Oh, well, all right. Spoil sport. Okay. All right.
Write the check.
No. All right, AIP, is it 16 or is it
17.
It's that one, 17.
So 17 is the Chapin project that we just completed. Well, the construction's primarily complete on at the north end of the runway. We had yet another meeting with the Chapin company regarding the discrepancies in the situation. And they provided us finally with all the test data and explained their position. And they have provided us with a letter explaining all their positions and where they're crying foul out at. That is currently being reviewed by the engineers, our engineering consultants. And then from there, they will recommend a response. So that's all in process.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, item 8C, NBAA 2015.
So as I spoke about it before, NBA 2015 begins the week of November 16th. We've done a huge amount of work. Michael Gerzan, once again, Cheryl, myself, we've done a large amount of work to get prepared for this, to try to bring attention to Hollister, to attract businesses, attract flights for the Super Bowl, etc. This is the largest business aviation conference in the world. It is huge, and when I say huge, that's with a capital H. It's like the second biggest aviation conference in the world, second to Paris. So it's a big deal. It's been a little expensive, but if that's what we want to attract, we need to be there advertising the airport so they know we exist. Because we're running into a situation, Leonardo had it recently where people tell him, we didn't even know you guys existed. I just had it with the Super Bowl with ATC, or with the guy from the NFL. He's like, what do you mean you're closer than Monterey? So we need to get our name out there, etc. In support of that, we budgeted some money, and the money was to create basically 3 video ads or infomercials or programs, whatever you want to call them. One of them you've already seen, which is our short one, our 30-second ad for the Super Bowl. The next one I'm going to show you is our 2-minute program, which talks about the airport and the opportunities. The longer one, the 4-minute one or 5-minute one, is just about finished. There's a little dubbing situation that needs to be fixed. The way the video was cut, it sounded like a word that we didn't want mentioned. So they're fixing that. It was nothing bad. It just wasn't something that it was out in left field. So they're fixing that, and that one should be done here in the immediate future. And once again, we're going to roll all these out for the NBAA. But let me show you our 2-minute ad right now.
Discover the Hollister Municipal Airport for your private and regional business air traffic needs. The main runway can easily accommodate all of today's business aircraft. It boasts a 6,350-foot long by 100-foot wide runway with 7,400 feet available for takeoff. Hollister is an ideal airport for the business executive. Located just south of Silicon Valley, it's also positioned close to the Monterey Peninsula, a major tourist hub, and California's Salinas and Central Valleys, where agriculture is the #1 economy. Seize the rare opportunity to expand or relocate your business to the recently developed Air Park Business Center. You own the land and the facilities on top of an incredibly convenient through-the-fence access that only exists in a handful of airports in the country. Think of the possibilities. Build your office complex in the front and a personal hangar in the back. It doesn't get any easier than that. When landing in Hollister, you'll enjoy many benefits such as no landing fees, Hollister Jet Center FBO services, car rental services, convenient major highway access. Hollister Municipal Airport is business friendly, catering to business aviation and companies who use aviation as an integral part of their operations. Lastly, Hollister's weather is VFR friendly most of the year and without the congestion and hassle of the Bay Area air traffic. On those rare days with weather, a GPS approach is also available. What's not to like about Hollister Municipal Airport? Convenience, location, and business aviation friendly. Make Hollister your airport destination for business.
So, once again, another perfect one, except for the Star Wars references. If we really want hits, we got to do that. But once again, all this was done by KON, Kirk Hamrick. He did a fantastic job. I've seen the longer one already. It's great. It has interviews with Ken and Dave in it, and it's spectacular too. So we're really ramping up, and the previous discussions are really going to affect all this, as you can see. In addition to all this, today I signed on the dotted line on our electronic targeted marketing program. So we have the ability now, through the magic of the internet, and we created a simple electronic ad, and I apologize I don't have it for you. It has our picture of a jet, it says flying to the big game, and then it cuts to the map you saw in the commercial with the different cities with the pins in it. When they click on that, it takes them to a website that we specifically created for the event. I should add that here too, sorry. I'll send an email out to you folks with the links. So what we're able to do is we can draw on a map a box. And then any mobile device in that box that accesses certain websites that we say, our ad will pop up on those websites. Like AirNav, you know how they have the ads on the side? That's how that does. So we're gonna give that a shot. And our boxes are around Dallas Stadium, New York Giants Stadium, Gillette Fields for the Patriots, Miami Stadium. So anybody in those stadiums during football games, and there's a lot of people in those stadiums during football games that use their devices, if they access certain websites, our ad's going to pop up, and then they can click on it to get Super Bowl information for us. Once Super Bowl's over, we'll change that ad to the business promoting ad that we already have prepared to go in. So we're doing a lot, and this is a multi-targeted thing. I thank you for recommending the council approve the funds. I thank the council for approving the funds, and I really think that we're doing some exciting stuff to make the visions that have been floating around become a reality.
Sounds good to me. Any other comments? Questions? Okay. Moving on to item 8D, the air show.
So at the special meeting we had, the Airport Commission recommended that we kind of reconsider how the air show works and stuff. I have contacted the Hollister Downtown Association, and we are in discussions about perhaps them assisting with the event and repackaging it, maybe switching dates. The other thing I've done is I've contacted other airports out of the area to find out what they do. As many of you know, Watsonville had a huge event, a huge fly-in. Fred said it was well attended. It only cost the Hollister Airport $60,000 out of their budget. Watsonville. I'm sorry. It only cost Watsonville $60,000 out of their budget for that event. And that's strictly from the airport's portion of that event. They did have donations and stuff that covered other parts of it, but it cost Watsonville $60,000 to put in that fly-in. The other airport I've contacted is Livermore. Livermore offered a free air show this year, had some of our same performers, and Livermore spent $30,000 out of the airport budget on that event. Both airport managers' feelings is it's PR money, it's money that needs to be spent. So with that said, I'll have more at a future meeting for you folks, but I just thought I'd let you know where we're at.
Okay, I guess I have one question, which is, have you formally updated the city council on this?
I have not come to the city council to choose the dates yet, because I want to kind of bring it as a package deal.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
When is this meeting with the Downtown Association going to happen?
I had one earlier this week, and we really don't have a second one set yet. I think she's pulling together some information.
Okay.
What was the meeting concerned?
Possibly the fireworks happening out at the airport on the 4th of July instead of that, and maybe a similar event, something like the street festival.
Yeah, that part was discussed at board meeting. Yeah. The president.
Oh, you're the president? Whoa, we have an inside
Inside
man. All right.
dual role here.
Okay. Anything else on that topic? Moving on to new business, we have item 9A, which is new commissioner recommendation for appointment. for anybody that isn't aware, we're filling a seat that was held by Doug Jackson. This is what we call a county seat. The intent is to provide an opportunity for people who reside within the county but don't actually reside within the city to have an opportunity to serve on the commission. So if at all possible, we will try to fill that position from someone who we call a county resident, that doesn't, meaning that they are county but not city. I believe the way the bylaws are written, if we had no applicants from that didn't live in the city, but we did have one in the city, I think that person could in fact fill a seat. But again, the intent is to try to give an opportunity for non-city residents to be able to serve on the commission. So, what?
That's the question
Okay.
I had. They
Yeah.
can be city residents.
Well,
I didn't know that.
if it's not explicit, but if you read the words, it doesn't explicitly exclude city residents. So one could interpret them to allow a city resident to fill the seat. But again, the intent historically was to try to give an opportunity for people that didn't live within the city to serve on the commission. So we've had 3 applicants, and all of the commissioners have received a copy of their applications. The three persons who have applied are the first one is Eric Martin. I don't know Eric Martin. Is he here? He's not here. Is he?
No, he's not here tonight.
Okay. We have Eric Martin. We have Margaret Watt, and we have Margaret Sonzeri, who usually is at these meetings, but didn't show. I don't know why. So I guess we won't hear from any of the applicants personally. I would note that it appears that Eric Martin, his address looks to be within the city limits of Hollister. So I would personally probably be disinclined to want to appoint him, given that we have some other applicants. I'd like to say that all of the applicants look pretty good to me. They all have aviation experience. 2 of them are pilots. Margaret, of course, is my instructor. And you know, this is a nice set of applicants. We don't really have a process for how to do this. I don't know whether we want to vote on them or discuss them or what.
Actually, the mayor makes the appointment for
The mayor, yeah, the commission submits a recommendation to the mayor, and the mayor either can accept the recommendation or reject it. But that's it. I mean, the mayor can't pick somebody else. If he wants to reject our choice, I presume it would come back to us and we'd have to submit a different name. But in this case, it has to come from this commission. So
You know where Bonnie Lane is?
Bonnie Lane?
Ridgemark.
Ridgemark?
Is that
Yes.
Margaret? Yeah, she lives in Ridgemark.
Which one is that?
Margaret Watt.
Margaret Watts in Ridgemark, and Margaret Sonzeri has an address in San Juan Bautista. So that's so at least Margaret, the 2 Margarets, both are non-Hollister residents. So personally, my view would be to try to select between those 2. Does anybody have any comments or?
Well, I know all 3 of them. As far as a county resident, personally, I would probably lean toward Margaret Watt. Looking at the application altogether, as far as somebody that could help us with budgets and all that, I think Eric Martin would be more appointed to that, since he works in construction and deals with budgets on a regular basis. Also looking at the applicants. There again, Margaret Watt is an airline pilot. A lot of times she is not in town on our meeting nights.
Yeah.
You know, not to say that she would not be a good member, but there again, there would be a lot of times that she would be absent.
Right, right. Yeah, that's been my concern. I talked to her specifically, and she said she would try to make the meetings, but she, you know, she has to bid her routes, or however they call it. And,
Correct.
And you never know with her. Yeah, again, it's like I say, well, again, Eric Martin would certainly be a nice choice if we were looking at a city.
I think for the
president.
merits of the position, like I say, I think Eric would be a, you know, good asset, knowing the budgets and how to read them and work within them. Where the
Does he live in Hollister?
he does live in Hollister, yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, again, my point is that someone like that is I'm happy to see him apply, but I'd like to see him fill a city job.
Correct.
You know, if possible. So, in my case, I'd like, but of course, I'm a county. I'm the other county member, I guess, so I guess I feel strongly about it. That those of us that live in the county but not in the city would like to continue to have a voice here. So, and I see the two Margarets fitting that bill. So I personally would want to pick between them. That's my opinion. Does anybody else have opinions here?
You want a motion?
No, wait.
Well, you know, you can try a motion, but I thought about this ahead of time. I don't know how we do this.
Pull out the name and show it.
And I mean, I guess we could, but
Should get everybody the opportunity to speak.
Your name and submit it to the city of Hollister, let the mayor decide. Yeah, I'm sure you should.
well, once we got a name, I can go forward from that. Was that something for me, or just throwing that out? Oh. Anybody got any ideas how to do this?
Well, I'd like to say something.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, speak,
No.
Gordon.
I think you and I have gone round and round. When the airport commission was 5 members, city residents, the airport's owned by the city, and I get mad a lot of times when, like CAL FIRE, I get mad at them because they don't put out a fire in the city whatsoever, yet we cater to the damn state of California.
They did several years ago.
Pardon?
They did several years ago.
No, that wasn't the city, the county. You're talking about the warehouse with that was in the county.
The back of it was in the city.
It was within 100 yards that they put out there. That's the only time they ever dropped on a building of a fire, but that was still in the county. But my whole point is that it's owned and operated by the city. We got to take the hits and all that. And that's what I was arguing with when it came up that we moved to 7-man tube from the county. And I guess my whole point, I had to swallow hard and accept that. And I do accept it. I mean, you've been a good commissioner. I got no qualms with that now. And but the problem is to have an applicant here that's in the city, that defers the original argument. If we want 2 from the county as a token because the county people are involved in the airport, I understand that part of it too. But now to load another county person on the commission, I think it's wrong. It should be the 5 city and 2 county.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I know, and that.
We only have one county
Yeah, but somebody
person
brought
right
up
now.
Martin again. I heard Martin. And I don't know the guy. I'm just saying that he's a city resident. So I think we should keep because we have the vacancy of a county that should be filled by a county person.
Okay.
First choice.
It's almost the reverse of my feelings. Load it up to 6, make it 7, but it's the way we're structured. I think it should stay that way.
You're right. Should have first choice.
Okay.
Agreed.
So that's what makes it easy.
All right. Well, so you're saying you would discount Martin being a city resident
Yeah.
since this is a county seat?
County seat.
Okay.
And I kind of like the idea, personally, I just kind of like the idea from San Juan Bautista. Again, just looking at the applications, they all sound very qualified, and I just like the idea. San Juan Bautista's never been a board.
That's an interesting
Another
point.
segment of
Yeah.
our county.
So you want a motion?
Well, I'm confused. Is Margaret Watt in the county or the city?
Ridge County.
Ridgemark is in the county.
County.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the three applicants, one lives within the city of Hollister, the other two do not.
And I agree with Gordon, we should have somebody from the county for the second person. 2 people, like he says.
Yeah, yeah, so, all right, so it sounds like at least the left side of the table here is in agreement that we should go with one of the 2 non-city applicants.
Okay.
Show of hands.
Well, let's just assume that I suppose we could end up, if we come and figure out how to vote.
Somebody should just make a motion for a name and vote on the name.
I'll make a motion, that we appoint Margaret Watt as the county.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that Margaret Watt be the choice.
I'll need another motion from somebody else.
Well, I mean, I guess this is one way of voting and seeing if she gets a majority, and if she does.
Why don't we
then
show of
she
hands
makes it.
or, whether we agree with that or not?
Well, we can just say all in favor, say aye, and
Correct.
and opposed, nay. All right. All in favor of Margaret Watt, say aye.
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 1, 2, 3.
Nay.
Okay, there's 3 ayes.
Nay.
And
How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4.
there's 6 of us, so that's, well,
Can I ask you just to do a roll call vote?
Yeah,
sure.
that'd be good.
Or I'll do it, actually, that's my job, sorry. This is all new stuff, so. Commissioner Judd?
I'll say nay.
Okay. Commissioner Scatini?
Yes.
Okay. Machado?
No.
Okay. Meyer?
Yes. This is for Margaret.
And Houston?
Yes.
And Martinez?
No, nay.
Okay.
So
So
it's
that's not a
3-3.
majority.
It's not a majority, which is kind of interesting, because then, if we,
I'd go ahead and make a motion for my candidate. Again, the San Juan Bautista, that's the only reason.
whatever.
So I would, Margaret Sunseri.
Cesare? Okay, it's been moved to propose Margaret Cesare. Is there a second to that proposal?
Second.
So that's been seconded by Commissioner Martinez. Okay, well, we'll go through the motions. All in favor of Margaret Cesare as the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
He's calling the roll.
Opposed?
No.
You're not sure? You want to call a roll?
We'll do the roll again.
Okay.
Commissioner Judd?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Scatini?
No.
Machado?
Aye.
Meyer?
Yes. Aye.
Houston?
No.
And Martinez?
Aye.
4-2.
What?
No.
It's 4.
Approved.
4-2.
Somebody changed?
Fred did.
Fred?
What?
I think I'm paying attention here. It's
Oh,
late.
in other words, you're good with either one of them?
Right.
Oh, okay.
And Margaret always comes to the meeting.
I'm tracking here.
All right, okay. 4-2. All right, well, I guess based on that, then Margaret Cesare will be our recommendation to the mayor.
I'll take care of that paperwork, and it will also go on the 16th.
Okay.
Actually, if I could request you reopen 8C, I remembered something.
Okay, all right, well, we've wrapped this up. Oh, one thing on this topic, though, I would like to say, can we, like, prepare a letter or something to send to the people that didn't get selected?
Absolutely.
And thank them profusely for applying, and, indicate how well qualified we thought they were, and that we hope that they'll consider a future in the future when the place opens up, because I really do appreciate the fact that they applied, and I'd like them to keep us in mind. I'm not going to last forever. Okay, yes, we can reopen 8D.
8C.
8C, I'm sorry, 8C, that's NBAA.
Yeah, I was actually able to remember our website address when I had a moment to think about it. It's HollisterAirport.org. It's a specific one. Michael Gerzan did all this work for us, and it's one of the newer types of websites where it's all one thing, so you just scroll down. We go from the nice picture to convenient information. They can click to runway information, takes you to AirNav or AOPA's page for us. Build Your Business Here, I believe, takes you to Ken Lindsay's website. Explore Hollister takes you to vineyards or the golf courses, Casa de Fruta, the Mission. We have a nice section on Pinnacles National Park, including a video about Pinnacles National Park. We talk about the businesses already located at the airport. We got our little Super Bowl spiel here. Talk about the length of the runway. TFRs will be 0. Shows where San Jose's TFRs, will be centralized from. Another little ad. Ability to contact us, ask questions. Google Maps to show where we're at. And then a link to the HDA, Chamber of Commerce, Ken Lindsay once again. So I think he did a fantastic job. And then up here at the top, if you click on it, it automatically takes you to those spots. And once again, that's HollisterAirport.org.
Who put that together?
One of my staff members named Michael Gerzan.
You the one at the airport?
He was there. Now he's located at the Utilities Department.
Young guy, right?
Yeah. Thank you for entertaining that.
Sure.
Sorry I didn't remember it at the time.
Okay, back to the agenda in order. The next item would be 9B, which is CAL FIRE-based project.
So as you're all aware, CAL FIRE signed a lease tying up a large portion of the airport. I think it's going on about 7 years now that the state's been looking for the funding to build the base. We've spoken with Sanfar at length about it, and he exhausted his resources trying to find federal funds to assist in the building of the base. There's some rules where federal money can't be spent to help state agencies. So we've talked at length with our own representatives, Alejo and our state senator, and they're trying hard to get that going. But the other day I was thinking, and our base doesn't just cover our little district. No. It covers parts of 9 counties. So I went ahead and compiled a list of all the different state representatives that our base services their districts in. And that list is 26 individuals. Now we're talking enough people to make a difference in Sacramento. So my thoughts were that we actually would try to contact them, maybe go up and meet with them, etc. So that's something that I'm kind of working on the side to get that moving. In addition to that, to help move the project along, I went up and met with the FAA yesterday regarding our ASIP plan, and we got a tentative verbal agreement that the taxiway that would run across their new base and tie in at Bravo and the run-up area for 3-1 could be our next project at the airport. They've requested some work for us to get done by the first of the year, and they're actually thinking that perhaps a lot of the environmental obstacles have already been met because of the condition of the existing area and the work done in conjunction with the CAL FIRE base and some of the other projects we've done. So we're trying to get that taken care of. If we can get that taken care of, we're guaranteed $150,000. We believe we have a very good chance to get $300,000 next year for the design of the new taxiway. And then we're programming a request, and it wasn't flatly rejected, so we have a good shot at it for an additional $3 million the next year to build the taxiway. So all that was very good news from the FAA in San Francisco. Unfortunately, I had to leave the FAA San Francisco at 3:30 in the afternoon, and you guys all know that I just got home a few minutes ago. But I think it was worth sitting in traffic for that.
Okay. So basically, the nice part about this is we're looking at the parallel to B, or parallel, the opposite side of the 3-1 taxiway from Charlie to Bravo.
Which will help us with a huge safety issue we have now with
Right.
everybody crossing 3-1 at Charlie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
So those incursions will stop.
Okay, good. Any questions? No? Okay, moving on to 9C, resolutions.
I've been kind of busy, as you've seen. One of these resolutions, I'm going to do it kind of out of order because I'm going to go by order of date of council meeting, was the 19th where the council awarded the contract for Granite Rock to the next portion of the runway. We kind of already talked about that. I do have two resolutions going to council on the 2nd of November. One of them is regarding Mr. Weatherly. His daughter requested, she called me up and said, is there any way that they could distribute his ashes out at the airport? And I thought for sure that in this state it would be illegal, but it turns out that in this state you are allowed to distribute ashes on public property with the permission of the owner. So what this resolution does is request permission from the city council for the family to distribute the ashes over between Taxiway Alpha and the runway. So I don't know if you folks want to take a position on it, but my plan is to present this on the 2nd and request their permission.
I agree with that.
I certainly would. Did you want a motion or something?
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to support that resolution.
I'll second.
What was the first?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who?
Fast
Didn't I
forward.
say I would entertain a motion? Who moved it?
I think Robbie did.
Was it Robbie? Okay.
Robbie did.
All right, Robbie. And who seconded?
I did.
Okay, Steve seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we definitely support that.
Okay. Encourage anybody to show up to support that. I'm guessing it might get a little discussion because it's a little not the normal fare for them. So the second item that will be going on the 2nd is a resolution of City Council requesting state matching grant for our project. Normally our projects are happening so quickly we can't get in the state grant funding program because if we start the project before the state gives you the grant, you don't qualify for the grant, and all our projects previously we've had to start right away. So our next project we're delaying till after the Super Bowl, so I figured it would be a good time to apply for the state grant. It's $323,000. So on Monday night, we'll be asking the council to go ahead and support this so we can turn it in. All in all, it should be rather routine and a good thing. So I was wondering if you folks would like to take a motion on this one too.
Okay.
What day are you going to be? What's the date?
The 2nd of November, Monday night?
You on here?
Yes. Both of these items are on the consent agenda and will go at the beginning of the meeting.
I'll entertain a motion to support that. Anybody want to move?
So move.
Gordon? Gordon moved it.
Second.
Okay, Jose seconded it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Wonderful.
All right. Back on these ashes being sprinkled around, is that likely to happen perhaps on the 14th or something? Or did they talk about when they'd like to do that?
We have not discussed dates.
Okay. All right. Just kind of curious. All right, items. What? Go ahead.
I'd have to ask staff, but Steve or I will need to be present for that because it's Steve Subia.
Uh-huh.
One of the two of us needs to be present for that because of safety situations, safety concerns with people out in the active
okay.
operations area.
Right. Right.
So that is the week I'm gone, the 14th. So
right.
So
right.
we'll see. We'll have to work on that.
Okay. All right. We have items for next agenda. Basically, it's almost the same thing we got, right? No new commissioners.
Okay.
We can probably skip the CAL FIRE base project because you won't have anything more to say about that.
I won't have an update by then, no.
Okay. And your resolutions, well, I guess you could report back on those resolutions.
Okay.
Air show, I'd say, I guess you can leave AIP 18 on there. Do you want to, or?
Yeah.
Just kind of, okay.
We may have dates by then.
Right, okay. And, yeah, all right. So, given that, then the next meeting date looks like will be December 16th because we're canceling the November meeting because it normally would fall the day before Thanksgiving, and so we're kind of skipping that. And the December meeting, I guess, would be the day before Christmas, and we're skipping that, so we're having a December meeting on the 16th. Will it be in this room? Do we have this room? Do we know?
I don't know that. I'll have to confirm that.
Okay. Well, hopefully it will be in this room, but if not, it'll be at the airport. But
it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. All right. With no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I need the motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yes,
Second. Okay.
Who's the second?
Robbie.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded. We adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Forgot to hit the gavel when it opened.